So to make the paper carnation, you are going to need paper, preferably cardstock paper. I am using 65-pound cardstock or 176 GSM. That's the thickness of this cardstock. It is solid core, meaning that it is the same color on the outside as well as on the inside. And depending on your project, that may or may not matter in terms of like paper craft, but typically with paper flowers, you want a solid core paper, cardstock paper, because you do end up seeing like the core, right? The inside of the paper due to the shaping of the petals and the technique. So yeah, you want it to, you know, be the same color. There's ways to get around it, but maybe I will make a video about that if you can't access solid core. But I got my paper from Michael's. That's my local craft store. Sometimes I get it from Joann's, sometimes from like Target or Walmart, especially for the basic colors. But like I said, mostly it's from Michael's. This is from their pink ribbons pack, which comes in like different shades of pink. And yeah, I'm gonna set this aside for now. This is my foam mat. I'm going to use this to shape the petals, and it goes with this ball stylus. And then this is my wooden dowel in one of like the smaller or thinner shapes, because they do come in different sizes. If you're here in the US and you're going to like Michael's, that's where I get these from. I'm using one of their thinner ones, not like the skewer one, but you know, just a step above. So anyway, let's see. Oh yeah, I'm also going to use my craft glue. I like to use the Barely Arts Precision Craft Glue with the really fine tip. It's awesome. And yeah, that's that. I'm gonna set aside my tools for now. I actually don't need hot glue, so I'm gonna turn that off. And yeah, like I said, these are great for wreaths, the carnation, obviously like garlands as well. Let's see what else. Shadow boxes. These are really great. And yeah, I love how fluffy they are. You can play around with how many layers you add, but I like the 11 layer style, and I typically like my flowers to be extra fluffy, so that's what I'm going to do. And the other thing that I'm going to do today is play around with different shades of pink. So the top layers, or like the innermost layers, are going to be this very slight pink shape, or like it's slightly lighter, I meant to say, than the previous pink. So those are gonna go on top. I think I want to do 3, but I cut out 4 just in case, because I'm kind of gonna build it as I go, and I might change a few things depending on how I like it. But you know, I would say about 3 to 4 shapes in the lighter color, and then the rest are going to be in that like darker color. This is my style. But of course, the ones that I've already made, I made them using one color, and they turn out really, really pretty. So I feel like I'm talking a lot, but hopefully this is useful information for you guys. I know that a lot of you have just gotten your like Cricut, and have just maybe discovered paper crafting, so that's why in January I typically like to you know, share a lot of beginner friendly tutorials, and I like to go over a lot of like what you would say is the basic stuff. So anyway, oh, gracias Guadalupe. I don't know why I said gracias, but Guadalupe, I think from your name. Gracias por los corazones. Let's get started, guys. I'm going to start with shaping my petals. So yes, now the petals come in a layer, obviously, but we're gonna shape each individual petal. And yeah, that's gonna take, it's gonna take its time. I actually thought about like shaping the petals, but I'm like, no, this is gonna be a craft along. I want you guys to see how long it takes, and yeah. So yeah, expect this to take about 20 to 30 minutes, but we'll see. Also, I'll try not to get distracted too much. And yeah, so we're just going to basically roll or curl like the sides, and we're gonna curl them inwards. So going in like that. And we're gonna do that for all of the petals, and not only that, but we're gonna do that for both sides. So right now I'm curling inward from like the right side. Then I'm going to flip the petal over and sort of curl in the same direction, right? From the left side in, okay? Like so. Now, don't ask me why, but I prefer to, I guess, work on my right side, and so it's easier for me if I flip the petal over and curl outward to the right. But obviously, because I flipped it, now it's the other side of the petal. So it doesn't matter how you do it. You could also just use maybe a thicker, let's see, a thicker wooden dowel, and like, instead of doing this side to side, you could literally do one. But as you can see, your fold or your curl is not going to be as intense. So that's why I like to do this. I think it's worth it. Oops, sorry, TikTok friends, I bumped my phone. So yeah, that's why I like to do this. But honestly, I love doing it. It's very satisfying, shaping the paper. But of course, it's satisfying to me, right? This is my job. This is my career, making paper flowers. But if you're a paper crafter, and if you love working with paper, I'm sure you're gonna love it. But yeah, look at that shape. I think that's very pretty, and it's gonna add a lot of that like fluffiness, that fullness to our flower. So yeah. Now, depending on the thickness of your paper, you might be able to double up 2 layers and curl 2 layers at the same time. Because I'm using 65-pound cardstock and I'm going for these really tight curls, I prefer to work with individual petals. But that's going to be up to you. It is possible to double up 2 layers with 65-pound cardstock. You would just need to, work a little bit harder to shape them. But oh, thanks guys. Thank you for the hearts. Okay, just keep them coming. Ooh, okay, fires too. That's awesome. So yes, this is my template. Yep. It's available in my Etsy shop. That's where I sell my templates, my digital templates. I have recently just added some physical items, very few. I'm thinking about adding this one-of-a-kind heart-shaped wreath as well. I have a problem where I have a hard time separating from what I create. And it is a problem because I live in a condo. We don't really have like a basement where I can put the stuff, or an attic. So yeah, my living room, as some of you guys know, is completely filled with paper flowers, with giant paper flowers. So is my bedroom, not completely filled, but a bunch of paper flowers are hanging there. My daughter's room is pretty filled. All my rainbow flowers and creations pretty much go to her. And yeah, I mean, it's great, but I feel like, you know, there is a limit. And I feel like I have reached that limit. And then it's also nice to rotate stuff too. So that's why I am right now trying to clear out my inventory, basically, make space for new stuff. And yeah, so yeah, you can find some of my physical items, physical flowers, physical finished products. One of them is the rainbow sunflower, which I wish I had out, but it's in a box already. And then I have my mushrooms, which again I probably should have brought here, but I didn't. But you can check this stuff out on my Etsy shop. Yeah, it's linked in my bio or just like in my stories. I really love how subtle it is, the difference between these two pinks, by the way. I don't know if you guys can see it, but yeah, I love that. But of course, the difference can be more, or rather less subtle as well. We'll see, I'll play around with some more color variations. But yeah, so far we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We are almost halfway there. And then another thing that I haven't played around with and that I want to in regards to this paper flower is adding some ink or just some paint as another way to add more details and make the flower even more realistic or more similar to the carnation. Carnations are very beautiful. And they also smell very, oh my gosh, I love the scent. Hi, Callies, how are ya? And yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways that you can bring this paper flower to life. And so as always, I'm gonna take this opportunity to remind you guys, if you are creating any paper flowers or anything with my paper templates, yeah, tag me, send me your creations. I love seeing what other people make. I love seeing their versions, their spins, their takes on the templates that I offer. And then in turn that inspires me. And yeah. It's a win-win. Yes. Okay, let's keep on rolling. Now you may wonder why there is, or maybe not, but I'll point it out. There is like a hole. Some of them just, it didn't come off. And it doesn't matter because I'm not using them in that way. But another thing that you can do with this template is that you can put it on a stem. So that is why I made like a little hole in the center so that you can like slide it up the, like the floral wire. I have yet to make a stemmed carnation with this template, but yeah, that's in my plans. But yeah, anyway, that's why that's there, if anybody was wondering. That is why. Oh, thanks. Nosy art. Nossy's art. Noshi's art. Blushes. There we go. Okay. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 4 more. Pretty good, not bad. And timing wise, we're like 17, 18 minutes in. And really, when I think about the carnation, the part that is most time consuming, the process that takes the longest is actually like shaping the petals, and namely this part, because we are going to do one more thing to the petals, but more so like the layers, and then the assembling, oh my god, that's easy. That's super easy. You're literally just stacking the layers on top of each other. So this is the bulk of it. We're doing the bulk of the work basically right in the beginning. Okay. Oh, cool. I'm glad you guys like this. Very nice. Thank you so much. Glad you like my crafts. I have lots of videos. I shared a lot of tutorials on my Instagram page, also on my TikTok as well, but on Instagram is also where I typically will do like template giveaways, freebies as well. The long detailed tutorials, I'll typically film them on Instagram, and then sometimes, you know, I'll go live like simultaneously, but I use my Instagram lives to then repost on my YouTube channel. So that's where you can find all of my detailed live tutorials. They're, you know, real time, very detailed, so you can literally craft along. And then for shorter, step-by-step, or not step-by-step, well, I mean, they are step-by-step, but shorter, punchier, like quicker tutorials are, those are typically on my Instagram Reels, TikTok, and, you know, on Pinterest as well. But on Pinterest, I typically will repost my Reels or TikToks. So, but yeah, on YouTube is where you can exclusively find all of basically the reposts of these lives from the perspective of Instagram. So if you're watching on Instagram, this is what you're getting. So like this bird's eye view, which is my favorite, and I find it's the most helpful. All right, I keep counting my petals because I'm losing track. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 jag started. Yeah, let's do one more, and that's it. Okay. So we are now 20 minutes is basically what it took to shape my petals. I did do a little bit of an intro in the beginning, so you know, it depends how fast you work too. Depends how many petals you're going to use, but like I mentioned in the beginning, I plan to use 11 to create this fluffy pom-pom-esque flower. At this point, I'm just kind of doing it like this. Like my hands are like warmed up and I'm just going for it. There we go. All done. Oh, that goes in the bottom. All right, so now I'm going to do that second step that I told you guys about. I mean, you can skip this step, but I do find that it gives a certain roundness to the flowers. So basically, since like I mentioned at the beginning, the lighter ones, the lighter petal shapes or petal layers are going to be on the top. I'm going to flip this so that I can start with the bottom. And for the bottom, in this case, we're not going to do much. If I were putting this on a stem, I would shape this, but since I'm not. I plan to put this on a garland. I'm gonna leave that there. So I'm gonna do nothing to the first shape. The second one, just very slightly. We're gonna go around in a circular motion around the base, and you will see the petals immediately lift. Again, just very, very slightly, very subtle, that's it. On the next one, I'm going to go in just a little bit more and also putting a little bit more pressure, okay, to lift the petals even more. It's very subtle, but again, trust the process. and then I'm gonna go in a little bit more. Basically, you get the gist. I'm lifting up the petals gradually with each layer a bit more, and not just lifting up the petals, but giving them some kind of like roundness as I go out as well, at the base of the petals as I'm going round and round. Okay. So remember, you're also playing with the pressure, how much pressure you are applying. In the beginning, I was very gentle, and now I'm going in more and more and more. And of course, as you're building the flower, you can adjust the petals again, like right before you put it in. But yeah, this is very easy. It does not take a long time. Okay, now we're coming to the bud, although it's all going to come very gradually, but we're in the lighter shades. So in addition to applying extra pressure, I'm also going to go in a little bit with my hands. And close it all the way in, even, okay? And again, just close it all the way to really condition the petals to face up. Okay, all right, that's it in terms of shaping. Of course, now we're gonna put everything together. Let me take a sip of my water. And as I promised you guys, this will not take long, like the part where you are actually assembling. Now, for this part, you can either again flip your stack and then just pick up from the stack, or you can open them all up. I mean, since I have a lot of stuff going on my desk already, I'm just gonna flip the stack upside down so that I know to start from the bottom up. That's how we're gonna build the flower. And as I mentioned in the beginning, I'm going to use my Barely Arts craft glue to adhere each layer onto the other. So you can either apply glue on the layer that's already down, or you can apply the glue on the layer that you are going to stack, but basically you want to stick to the base, the circle. Then the other thing that you want to be mindful of is that you fill in this negative space so that the second layer or third or whatever, the layer that goes on top, is the petals aren't directly on top of each other, but they are alternating, filling in that again, that negative space. That's going to be our goal. Oh, thank you, Sanju. And yeah, that's it. Now, another cool thing about that having that circle in the middle there is that it also helps with lining up the layers. If that makes sense. So I know I'm putting them directly on top of each other. They're not more skewed to one side or the other, because I can see the circle, like the little hole there. So maybe I do want to take this out. Okay, here it is, starting to take shape. Our little carnation is coming to life. Yeah, one cool thing about carnations, I have yet to actually, because I love to, I want to say so many things all at once. I love to find out like the meaning of flowers, like what does it mean? What does a zinnia symbolize? You know, it's friendship, endurance, and this and that. And you know, some of it is a bit cheesy, but some of it is interesting. I'm a curious person, so I like that it used to be such a thing, you know, flowers have a symbol, and it still is, but I think people used to take it a lot more at heart back in the day. But yeah, anyway, I have yet to like research on what the symbol of a carnation is, what it symbolizes. If anybody knows, let me know. Oh, thanks, Kens09. Hi, Kens09. Let's see if I can get to my point. So I have yet to like really fully understand what carnations are all about in terms of their symbolism, or if they're used for a specific like thing. But I did find out that they are January's birth flower, right? Each month has a flower. Thanks, Rosie. Rosie, be creative. Yeah, so if you didn't know, each month has much like a birthstone. Each month has like a birthstone. Each month also has, or each birthday we could say, also has a flower associated with it. And yes, sometimes it's more than one. That's the same with birthstones, like one, depending on the culture, or I don't know what it depends on. But yeah, they'll have like more than one. January's birth flower is the carnation. Carnelian is the birthstone of January, if I'm not mistaken. No, I'm not mistaken that it is. So that's interesting. Carnelian is a semi-precious stone, and then carnation is a flower, both associated with January. What does it mean? See, this may lead me nowhere, but I have to research it. I have to find out. That's what I'm talking about when sometimes I'm just too curious. I wish I wasn't, but that's okay. So yeah, I am still trying to keep this centered, trying to alternate the placement of the petals. Of course, it's going to be harder as you're getting in the center, but as you're getting towards the center, it doesn't really matter. They're kind of going to be on top of each other anyways. And yeah, at this point, we are towards the end of this beautiful adventure that was making a carnelian with paper. Nothing but paper and glue. And as you are putting those like last layers, we'll call them the bud layers, start shaping the flower. So as the glue is drying, I want to make sure that the petals are like upright. Okay. All right, and here is our bud. Now for the very last one, which is going to be like the bud, you can either like apply some glue here and then keep this in together, all rolled up, so that the petals actually stick together, or at least some of them do. Or you can sort of leave it open and the other layers will sort of push this in so that it stays closed or semi-closed, you know what I mean? So that's why I like adding so many layers, because it creates this really fun center that is essentially created by all of the petals pushing in, the bud petals. But so yeah, I'm gonna hold the bud in as the glue dries. Like I said, just to condition the petals, the bud petals, to stay upright. And then